gentlemen, welcome back to Competitive Speed Series. It's yet another round of racing.
What's going to happen in turn 1?
4, 5 red lights here in Shanghai.
They will need an even bigger miracle.
This is completely flipped on its head.
Now the gloves have come off.
You will not believe your eyes. Oh, it's the wall! For the first time, EVE have won a race.
They have beaten the unbeatable team title for TF10. They are back on top.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Competitive Speed Series. It's yet another round of racing.
What's going to happen in turn 1?
4, 5 red lights here in Shanghai.
They will need an even bigger miracle.
This is completely flipped on its head.
Now the gloves have come off.
You will not believe your eyes. Oh, it's the wall! For the first time, EVE have won a race.
They have beaten the unbeatable team title for TF10. They are back on top.
Good evening and welcome everybody to Competitive Speed Series for what is going to be one of the most historic tracks you'll ever set your eyes on, and that is Silverstone. We're here for the British Grand Prix. You name it and you pretty much will be able to know the corner, where it is, how it is on track, what gears you should be taking pretty much, and how fast people will go. It's looking a little bit grey in the North Hampshire skies. Could be Northumberland, as Ollie just stares at me going, he's an idiot. But no, I've got Ollie joining me this week for what is going to be an absolute insane British Grand Prix. I am almost certain for it.
Absolutely, Gareth. Yeah, it's like we've spoken many a time about how much you and I both love Silverstone as a track, you know, historically, even through the game, how great it has been over the last couple of years. It's a fantastic circuit, and you know, after Austria last weekend weekend before last when I was still here, how great that was. You know, it's a great track to follow up in. I think we'll talk about it through the qualifying section of the Grand Prix, but yeah, very much looking forward to the Silverstone Grand Prix.
Yes, it's going to be great. No Ferraris here tonight, so the AMR team not here. So only 18 drivers, which makes, again, I think that the 3 positions, 16th, 17th, 18th, are much harder to get into. But enough about that. The standings are up on the screen. Qualifying is going on, and we'll go on board with that very, very shortly. But Shazoo, well, it's still 60 points separating Shazoo and ET8, so it's really, really close. And Ventauri slowly eking their way closer to the front two. I don't think it's too little too late, but an interesting come to it towards the end of the season. FRT and QRT separated by 6 points, and then 3 points further down is TF10, who, well, a few seasons ago, Ollie will know that they were towards the top and all of a sudden languishing outside the top 5. As Alien Motorsport picked up some good points at Canada as well. Honestly, go back and re-watch that one if you haven't already. Let's go on track with Lolo. As I say, let's go on track. We're trying to go on track, as eventually it does register that it's there. But Lolo coming through Maggots and Beckett's and through Chapel. And this is going to be the major point where drivers will pick up penalties this afternoon.
Yeah, I think so. It's so easy to cut. As much as we love that part of the circuit, it's so easy to cut, trying to get the best part of or best line you can through there, and you could argue even through the latter parts of Stoves, or you can go wide there and cut corners. But Lolo 125.7 to set us off here, Gareth, in Silverstone. We'll see how that matches, and already Silo smashes that by 0.7 of a second, and Tony Richet jumps in as well into the 25.0. So already Lola looking, well, in the respect, Gareth, a bit slow compared to the rest.
Yeah, a little bit slow, 0.5 off. Oh, as Max Power deciding to take the I don't even know what to say going through Cops there. That is a very Tokyo drift style, which is not going to get you much at all. And the back end really stepping out for Max Power at the moment and really struggling through as we go on board with Astala, as I think they are just, well, coming through Woodcote and towards Cops themselves. Hopefully for the TF10 team can get some big points because they need it tonight because they are struggling a little bit. Tony Reich last week absolutely dominated from start to finish. An absolute incredible race for the Shizou Cedar driver as Volokongan, their teammate this week for the Shizou team, throwing themselves into third respectively for the time being, but still a little way to go to beat Silo's time as Astala then coming through Stowe. Ollie, I do have to ask, who you think is going to take pole position tonight? With a lot of time remaining, you've got a bit of time to think on it. But at the moment, obviously, Silo looking very, very strong. But I don't think it's going to be all that simple for them.
I don't think so. No, I think the fight between Azastala goes up to P6 there with a 125.2. I think, again, it's that fight between ET8 and SCI, isn't it? We've seen it all season. Silo getting up there early. His teammate in Sergioli down in 17th at the moment, but yet to set 8. Well, he's not been out yet at all. I mean, it's a difficult one. You know, Tony Roche's back for this race. We've seen how well he can perform. It'd be difficult not to pick him, Gareth, I think, for pole today. You know, he's only, was that less than 500ths behind Silo. So for me, he's got to go for the second place man. But again, we've still got just under 12 minutes to go. So anyone in this 18 driver lineup could definitely get pole. But we'll have to wait and see. But for me at the moment, Gareth, it's Tony Roche.
Yeah, look at that middle part of the order. TF10, VNT, IRT. So some big teams 2 by 2 through all that. And obviously you've got the Shizou Cedar drivers 12th and 3rd respectively there as well. As AMS Devil goes across the line, setting a 125.615. Some of the times coming in, though, are really close together. Look at QRT, Jonas and Quantum. They are ridiculously 0.003 of a second separating those two drivers. And obviously we've spoken about how close Silo and Tony are as well. But it's nice to see a longer track. You often see it in Austria, don't you? The times really close together. But Silverstone seeing some times together, that's good to see.
I think this track is a driver favourite, Gareth. I mean, doesn't matter what age or generation you're from, you know this circuit, don't you? It's almost ingrained on anyone who loves motorsport. Silverstone has been there since almost the very start of Formula One, and it's whether you follow Formula One, touring cars, world endurance, superbikes is part of the calendar, part of the furniture, isn't it? So drivers have known the circuit for a very, very long time. So it's one that they've done throughout the games, throughout different genres of the sport. You know, they're used to this track. So to see it so close is fantastic to see. But not surprised with how iconic this circuit is. As we have a bit of a lull at the moment, about halfway through the session. We do have some drivers out, but yeah, no wonder how why it's so close, and hopefully that bodes well for the race in about 15-20 minutes time.
Yeah, we'll look forward to that one. 10 minutes, as he quite rightly mentioned, until we do hit race start, and Lars Kramer then in 9th place. It's the lead of these cars heading through on track and on Maggots and Beckett's, and then through Chapel and down the Hanger Straight towards Stowe, as the DRS will be activated pretty much all the time through down that Hanger Straight. And there will be times where Silverstone, especially in this current game cycle, where there is a little bit of DRS train going on and people will find it difficult to overtake and being in that dirty air. But if there is a break in that train, generally you see drivers pull away.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's one of the tracks where you're able to break it, which is great to see. We do have a few circuits on the calendar that unfortunately do seem to be a bit of a DRS train, and it's difficult to overtake, and you just sort of get stuck in a rut. But this circuit is, I guess, it breaks it up a little bit, which is great to see. And with some of the historic circuits, you don't always get that, but Silverstone seems to buck the trend, maybe Gareth, with that. But we've got Lars coming through past the old pit straights before we get to cops flying almost flat out through here. And hopefully we'll get all drivers around there come racing, but then back down towards Maggotts, Beckett's and Chapel. Iconic section we see many times. Gareth, we mentioned, I think, Circus of America, the B-Tech version of Maggotts and Beckett's, as he comes around, there's a heap of cars in his way. There's slipstream from the McLaren there, so that will help him coming down this second straight we have here at Silverstone. Through Stowe he goes, a little bit wide through there, but 3 corners ago, and the Vale and Club section. So we'll see where he goes. Currently in P9, just behind his teammate, but crosses the line, and up to 7th for Lars, a 2/10 improvement there for him.
There's a yellow flag with a McLaren going off, but yes, great qualifying there for Lars, or Kickstarter. They're qualifying, throwing them up the order a little bit, but wasn't able to dispatch Quantum, and we're on board with Quantum, who's coming towards Vale and Club now. Hopping over, maybe getting a bit too much curb, coming through the exit there and across the line for Quantum. I say that, look at that, 3 thousandths quicker than Silo. What has Silo got in the offering to beat that first sector? They're down on their lap time, so it's not going to beat it at the moment.
No, it's great lap time from Quantum there, and it's like we've already mentioned, it's marginal differences in these lap times that Silo throws just about flat out through cops. He goes in again, like we said, that the iconic Maggotts, Beckett's and Chapel section tries. It's so difficult to maintain your speed through. They don't want to drift too wide, and that's where Silo went wrong. There goes too wide through Chapel, and that is an invalidation for the Mercedes driver. And back into the pits, and we go again for him, unfortunately, in this quali session. Not ideal, but you mentioned earlier how difficult it is through that section, and that is where Silo has tripped up.
The proof is in the pudding, as they might say, but Tony Richet is coming through towards Vale and Club now. They're up by 0.069 of a second. This could be a pole clenching lap provisionally. It is. It's into the 24.9s. Tony has done it for Shizou at the moment. Sergioli up into 4th place. Our Shizou teammate Volokongan slightly up on their time as well. So this could be good for both Shizou drivers. Across the line, it's Shizou 1-2 at the moment. And my goodness me, the master plan from Shizou is working out.
Absolutely. Yeah, crucially getting that lockout of the front row is going to help them come race time. We always say that quali and the race are 2 different things, but if you can, get quali nailed, it makes life a lot easier, and they've done that, Gareth, with SCI 1st and 2nd, and Volokongan, you can barely split those 2 lap times. I know it seems quite a lot because of the difference between 24 and 25, but there is barely anything in that, and you could argue between Volokongan and Quantum there's nothing in it as well. So great lap times, but again, we've still got 5 minutes to go. Still plenty of time for someone to pip Tony Richet. I mean, it would have to be a hell of a lap time, but could still happen.
Could still happen indeed. AMS Devil on a lap time, I think, just slightly out of sync, everyone. Actually, no, they're 1.9 seconds down, so they won't be on a lap there. We've got Gergo retiring from the session, I believe, for a qualifying ban, and we do have Max Power on a lap, who is trying to get some slipstream from the Mercedes down the hangar straight, but the Mercedes was wise to it and got off the track onto the grass to ensure that there was no slipstream given to Max Power as they go through Vale Club, the final few corners here at Silverstone, and across the line for the kick salver, and it's only up into 14th place, a 125.448, 7 thousandths of a second slower than AMS Devil. I don't think Devan is on a lap. They've invalidated. So let's just remind ourselves what is at stake here in the standings, while there is that little bit of a lull in proceedings. It is Shizou with a 60-point cap over ETA. ETA at the moment struggling with qualifying, and I say struggling, they're 4th and 5th.
That's the thing. It's not like they're miles down what we've may have seen in previous times. They're not. There's nothing in it. There's less than a 10th between Silo and Tony Richet, and that's between 1st and 4th, which is it's nuts, isn't it? And that's how close this league is, and how competitive CSS has been all season. We've seen it between ET8 and SCI, haven't we, all season, and it's great to see. But yeah, Quantum splitting them at the moment between first, second, and fourth and fifth. Quantum's teammates down in 14th for the. Trying to find the team. Okay, the FRT. Yeah, FRT, isn't it? Yeah. It's the color trips me every time, Gareth. I never expect the green. I know I should, but yeah, we'll see whether Max Powell can catch up with his teammate later on. But yeah, we've got Zawadi in 6th. How are we pronouncing 7th place, guys? VNT Miss Paya?
Miss Parla, maybe Miss Parla.
Miss Parla in 7th. Ortiz in 8th. Astala in 9th. And QRT Jonas in 10th place at the moment. But, guys, I can imagine every single driver will be coming out very shortly with only 2 minutes 45 left of the session.
Ollie Hornby has just started their final lap as well. I presume their final lap, if they invalidate earlier on, they might be able to go through back on it. But right now, Ollie Hornby through into Village, the loop in Aintree, and then down the Wellington Straight to try and lift themselves up from 16th place. Let's see what the sector split time is. It is, wow, it's a 10th up, which is going to be good. If they keep this sort of momentum going through the lap, Ollie Hornby could be in for a really good lap here, as we did just see the calendar up on the screen. That's right, only 2 rounds remaining. Silverstone and then Australia to round things off. And obviously we're at Silverstone now, so points-wise could all come to a win tonight. Could see, I'm pretty much certain, Shazoo taking the championship, but we'll have to wait and see. Here comes Ollie Hornby, though. Enough about them, enough about Shazoo for the time being. It's all about Ollie Hornby, who's coming towards Stowe into this long right-hander, and at the moment that looks like a pretty solid time and a solid corner for Ollie Hornby. Yeah,
just into club now to finish off his lap time here. Get a little bit squiggly across the line, and it's an improvement by just shy of a 10th and a half, but still, unfortunately for Ollie Hornby, still is in 16th, and he slowed right down as well. So I can't. I think that might be his teammate coming. No, it's someone else coming through. But yeah, I think that might be it for Ollie Hornby with only 1 minute left of the session.
Quantum then is on a lap time, took pole position away from Silo before the Shazoo drivers got in on the action. Currently 3rd place for Quantum as they head down towards the Stowe corner, and well, it's looking quick for Quantum. Can Quantum ruin the Shazoo qualifying party? We'll have to wait and see. Only a few more corners to go.
Yep, comes round the final corner, gets powered down early as Quantum crosses the line, and it is pole for Quantum with a 124.942, so that's 9 thousandths quicker than Tony Richey there. Can he respond? He comes through Cops here. I didn't see his second time through here. I don't know whether there's another one as he throws it through Maggots, Beckett, and Chapel here. Make sure he doesn't drift too wide through there. And he is quicker, Gareth, by 0.120 here. Can Tony Richey take pole here? Teammate's not too far behind him. There's a Haas in between. I think that might be Devil in between. But through the final 2-3 corners of Vale and Club, Silo takes pole with a 24-7 out of nowhere from him. Tony Richey only gets second, but Silo, Gareth, 2 tenths quicker than anybody else. Great lap time.
Silo turned it on when they needed to the most. Sergioli is up enough, I think, to throw themselves into 3rd place. Poor Tony must be thinking, what do they need to do to beat Silo? That is an absolute incredible lap time from Silo to start things off. What can Sergioli do against their teammate and the rest of the Shazoo drivers? Astala throwing themselves into 5th for the time being, but Sergioli across the line is only 4th place, displacing Vola Kongan. Wowee. That is nearly qualifying over and done with. A few drivers still to go. Miss Parla across the line, up into 7th, displacing Ziawadi. I think we've got Jonas just up on their lap time as well, throwing themselves 6th. I think only one more driver to go. And I say only one more driver to go. Pippin is massively down, 10 seconds. So that is qualifying. Ollie over and done with. And Silo, well, that's a statement and a half.
I mean, where did that come from? He was pole for a brief moment in the session, but to come out with 2/10 quicker than Tony Roche there is phenomenal. We expected him to come into the 24s, but to go that deep, 0.180 quicker than Tony Roche. Yeah, brilliant result for Quantum, and crucially, Sergio Oli ahead of Grolakongan as well.
I'd love to be able to run down the order, but it's it's
Can we do it quickly?
Go for it. It's black screen for me.
So Silo, Tony Roche, Quantum, Sergio Oli, Grolakongan, Jonas, Asala, Spala, Zwadi, and Lars 10th. Ortiz, Devil, Pepin, Max Power, Lolo, Ollie Hornby, Devin, and I didn't see the last one, unfortunately. Went off to my screen too quickly.
That's fine. I think from memory it was Gorgas.
Go.
Go. Yeah. Or did you say?
And didn't set a qualifying time, did he?
Yeah. I say disqualified, but yes. Anyway, enough of that. Let's have a look at the standings one more time. 60 points separating Shizou and ETA. ETA have, though, a upper hand thanks to that qualifying lap time from Silo, and it could be enough to push them towards the end. And we're just waiting for the drivers to get ready. With everything now all being said and done and everything like that, I'm trying to think of the best way to ask this question of you. Basically, are Shizou going to win the title tonight?
With the greatest respect to Shizou, I hope they don't. I hope it goes down to the final race. From a viewership and from a comms point of view, it'd be great to go down to the final race and have that tiebreaker. I think the fact that Quantum is involved in that fight is great to see for tonight's race. I don't think they have it in them to do it. The fact that Silo was 2/10 quicker than Tony Roche there bodes well for the race, but crucially, Sergio Oli needs to get past Tony Roche, and that's no easy task. They ultimately, guys, they need 1-2, don't they, to make sure that fight stays until the final race.
They do indeed, as we are just. Well, still waiting. It's likely a one-stop strategy, medium hard, like we usually see on this. But with Sergioli racing tonight, Sergioli is the driver with the most points for any team. So if anyone can displace and disrupt the Shizou party, it's Sergioli. Tony coming back strong in round 10, though. I mean, you can get. Is it something like 30? Correct me, Ace, in the chat if I'm wrong. You can get up to 38 points for a race victory, and that's the top end. So there is still a lot on offer, and Shizou need to be squeaky clean tonight to ensure that even if they don't win the championship tonight, they've got as big a margin at next week's race as possible.
Yeah, ultimately, if ET8 finish 1-2, they need to be 3-4, don't they, to make sure that gap is as minimal as they can. But Silverstone as well as I do, guys. It's a beast of its own, and we do see safety cars at this circuit. We do see wet weather as well. Sometimes Silverstone has got its own climate. UK has got its own climate. You could argue. We do see rain a lot in this country, and we could well see that currently grey/light skies. That could well change very quickly for the drivers. So we'll wait and see how that pans out. But yeah, like I said, crucially, if they don't win, they need to be third and fourth to make sure that they minimise the points deficit that they get between themselves and ET8 in this evening's race.
Certainly can. I don't want to miss the stat of this Grand Prix, so I am going straight onto this, and we can see, the pit wall and everyone just being ready. I don't want to miss a thing, as the Aerosmith song would go. Yeah, testing your knowledge there, Ollie. I'm so sorry.
I'm old enough to remember that. Don't worry, guys.
And just to confirm what's said in the chat, SCI need to outscore ET8 by 8 points and then not be outscored by 39 points by VNT to be crowned champions tonight. So that's the state of play. However, we know that in F1 nothing is set in stone. All it takes is one small mishap and it could cost you massively.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, whether it's Formula One, MotoGP, touring cars, bumper cars, for all I know, anything can happen when it comes to racing, and we could well see that this evening. We've seen plenty of great action all season, haven't we, Gareth, with this league? And if anything, if a race is going to throw it up, it's going to be the circuit, isn't it? It is iconic. We've seen drama time after time of the circuit, and it wouldn't surprise me to have more this evening, especially with how close this title fight is. Yeah, unbelievably close, especially going down into the final 2 rounds. Like I said, from a viewer point of view, I'd love to see it go down to the final round, but I'm sure Shizou won't want that. But ET8 and maybe VNT a little bit too far out for that. But yeah, I'm sure ET8 would love for it to run down to that final race of the season in Australia.
Yeah, it's going to be... It's going to be an interesting one, and anything in Silverstone tonight, any sort of incident, and I'm sure the stewards will be absolutely hating me for saying this, but if some sort of coming together happens in turn 1, old Frost and Senna-esque, then you know what, it just adds that extra bit of spice. But we are on the track, we have got the lights going on, it's 4, 5 red lights here in Silverstone, and it's away really quickly from there, and my goodness me, Silo is going to be passed by Tony Richet as they head into the first corner, side by side still. ET8, Shizou battling away. Silo retakes the lead as they go into Village, but forcing the ET8 driver off. No room there. Sergioli then tries to get back at it. This is the scrap of the ages.
Yeah, as Sergioli tries to go around the outside of Tony Richet there, but it is Tony Richet taking the lead of the Grand Prix with Sergioli in second, Silo in third. Quantum drops down 2 places. A very poor start from the Sauber driver, and that's him, like I said, down to 5th place, and both VNT drivers in 6th and 7th. Pepin up 5 places already, guys. Great stuff from him. And Ortiz, unfortunately, down 7 places, down to the back of the grid.
It's not ideal. Only one driver on a set of medium compound tyres, and that's Ollie Hornby, who's squabbling away, but we're still up with the leaders because it's Tony from Sergioli to Silo, and then Volokongan just sitting behind with Quantum trying to make a move on the Shizou driver here in 4th place. This could be close as they head towards Stowe, but I think the straight line speed from the Shizou driver was better, and it's allowed him just to keep on going through. Just behind, I think that's Devil and Astala fighting away. That's an interesting one. No, it's Astala and Pepin who's going side by side through this part of the course, and that is very, very tight between the two of them, and Devil had to back out, or otherwise that could have been very, very nasty in the end.
Yeah. Long game, isn't it? And I don't think Devil wanted to deal with that, and allowed Pepin to get through there. Zawadi made a mistake, Gareth, through Chapel, and I say that to Devil back up the inside just before the Hamilton straight, and also that could be Astana up the inside as well. So Pepin loses another place. Through they go, trying to go around the outside. Pepin does, but he'll have the inside for the next part of the corner. But I think the Alpine driver may have the legs on the McLaren driver here. Through they go, still side by side, going down the old pitch straight here towards Cop. Still side by side, but I think the Alpine driver just has the legs on the McLaren driver. And through they go, through Cops towards Maggots, and just about stays ahead. But then you've got the Aston Martin driver getting through as well of Jonas. Pepin losing places left, right and centre.
Yeah, hand over foot, isn't it? Paul Pepin struggling with race pace at the moment, getting those tyres up to temperature. Here comes Jonas, though, on the attack of Astala, but I don't think it's going to happen on this time around. As... No, it looks... Oh, saying that, there was a late little bit of drive from Jonas to try and get the move done, but it didn't seem to work in the end. But that is Tony now setting the fastest lap of the race, and it's more settled out at the front as things stand. Volokongan doing a good job of just holding Quantum back.
Yeah, I mean, crucially, Quantum is the disruptor in all this, isn't he? Trying to get his nose involved with the fight for the championship, and just about behind for now. DRS obviously enabled Espala a little bit too far back to challenge Quantum here. More yellow flags, and I think that's Lolo making a mistake through first part, dealing with Zawadi just got past him as well. But crucially, Tony Roche just about holding a 10th for now, and Sergio Oli needs to make sure that he stays within that 1 second window from a DRS point of view, as does Silo. Both drivers need to stay involved with the fight for P1.
Yeah, and Volokongan dropping out of the second mark of Silo ahead. That's problematic, because you're not going to have any DRS to defend from Quantum behind, and this could be make or break for Shizou, as pulling away are the two ET8 drivers with the teammate of Tony Roche. Just that it's now 1.5 seconds, and I mentioned in the pre-race part, or maybe even qualified, that when that train breaks, it's very difficult to get it back together, and Tony might need to do a little bit of holding up and then bolt away again to see if they can get Volokongan back into the swing of things.
Yeah, no, I agree, but then he opens the door, doesn't he, for Sergio and Silo to close that gap, and I think that was Silo with the fast lap of the race just then. So, you know, yes, he can slow it down, try and close that pack back in again, but he opens the door for an attack from the ET8 drivers here, as they're both closing in on our race leader. It's now less than 5/10 between the top three as they come through left field and towards Woodcut here for the fourth time in this race. And Volokongan, and a bit of pressure from Quantum here. Quantum is closing that gap, but Volokongan, again, that gap is not closing, Gareth. It really is. I don't think that the message has been sent to the other teammate in Tony Roche at the moment.
I'm unsure. It's back in within the second range, but I think Tony is going to be open for all-out war when it comes down the hanger straight, unless they've managed to save the battery up and deploy it fully down this, well, I suppose you could call it the back straight. I think they have. Sergioli and Sergioli and Silo couldn't catch too much to the back end of the Red Bull, the Shizou car, and Volokongan has got back within that second. Ollie Hornby passing Max Power. I say passing Max Power. Max Power has got the move back down. Ollie Hornby goes up the inside as they go. That's very, very ambitious from the AMS driver, and it nearly was tears, but they managed to hold off from careering into the side of Max Power, and those tyres are going to, well, not like Ollie Hornby for that one.
I don't think so. And unfortunately for Ollie Hornby, the pressure doesn't go away. You've got Gurgle right behind him here, so you may see to try and make a move into Brooklands here, but I think he may be a little bit too far back. We don't normally see any moves into Brookland down the Wednesday. I say that though, dives up the inside and makes that move stick. I like there's no tomorrow, and makes, so I'd say that, yeah, G's made that stick, and Ollie Hornby drops down to 14th.
Ollie Hornby clicking the back end of Gergo there. And I think it's lost them some momentum as Ortiz trying to find a look up the inside down the old pit straight and get the move done just before, and Ollie Hornby having a little bit of issues from going wide out the exit of Cops, and that's not ideal through that one. Rain is expected at some point, by the way, and all of a sudden maybe a little bit more spice, but also if it comes down, this ET8 have got a little bit of a problem, because they've got to have to double stack or risk going a lap earlier or a lap later, which could cost the tyres.
Yeah, you can sort of see the grey clouds dotted about the circuit, can't you? And ultimately, I mean, you could even argue that the Shizou team have got a similar problem. You know, there isn't that much of a gap between them either, which we could see some double stacking happening there. But ultimately, ET8 are going to have the worst problem out of, I say that the VNT drivers are in the same situation, but crucially, you know, is it up to the drivers when they decide to pit? You know, let them decide. when they feel it's ready for the intermediate tyres. We'll have to wait and see when that happens. Ideally, Gareth, Sergio gets past Tony Roche, and they have that little bit of space, don't they? But we'll have to wait and see whether Sergio has enough brute to get past our current race leader onto lap 6. They go, and that gap isn't. He hasn't really had an opportunity to challenge our race leader as of yet. We'll see how he progresses. He's closing, but not enough to make a move for P1 just yet.
Yeah, we'll see what Sergio can do. This is the closest battle on track, really, with the DRS and the ERS and the slipstream games that are at play. But at the moment, Sergio just can't find a way past Tony. And last week, I know you weren't here for it, but Tony, the interchangeable conditions worked to their advantage massively. And Tony was imperious in that race. Can we see a carbon copy tonight? We'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, Tony leading the way, lap 7 of 26. And we have rain expected at some point. These hards will go to that rain. And that's if the rain that we get is wet enough, and I know it sounds stupid, but wet enough to enforce the intermediate tyres.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've seen in the past where it's just not enough. They can still roll around on slicks, and it's not worth the time to switch over. And when it does switch over, they've already there's not enough laps left the Grand Prix. It's almost worth putting on those inters with, especially this circuit. It's quite a long pit straight as well, pit lane, sorry, to negotiate. So we'll have to wait and see how they go about doing that when that rain does hit. And unsurprisingly, we do have rain at the circuit in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, we do. We'll just I'm eagerly close, like watching to see if I can see that little bit of a glitch where it shows you has started raining, and I think I need to just ensure that we don't go off subject too much on this, because while yes, rain could come in, the van picks up a 3-second time penalty. There is still all the other things that play as well. Like we've already crossed off the possible double stack for VNT and ET8 and Shazoo through all this, as we've got a pit stop for AMS Hornby. So Ollie Hornby. As I was just going to see, is there a problem with Ollie? Has he got a front wing damage or anything, or is this going to be just a nice simple in and out set of hards just to see where they can go to the end of the Grand Prix?
Yeah, it looks like it's that case, but if rain does hit, he's going to be unfortunately even further back. I'm sure you'd be hoping for a safety car in this Grand Prix, being he is, 14 seconds just jumped up 40 seconds behind Devon in 17. So yeah, a lot of work for Ollie Hornby to do in this race. And yeah, a bit of a lull at the moment, Gareth. I think, like you mentioned earlier, this DRS train has cemented itself in this mid-period of the Grand Prix. And I think it's just waiting for an overtake, isn't it, to change things up.
Yeah, just someone to do something a little different, or just throw things out. As I say that, is that someone going into the pit lane? That is Sergioli in the pits.
It is indeed. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what he does with his tyres here, with the threat of rain inbound on a set of hard compound tyres. What does he go on to? Onto a second set of hard compound tyres, it looks like, once the game loads up. Yep, another set of hard. So he'll be hoping that the rain doesn't hit, and that's him over and done with. Regard the pits up to being clear air. Divin seems to have got past him once the camera decides to load. There we go. Pops out ahead of Ollie Hornby. So a little bit of clear air, and he'll hoping to just do a couple of hot laps to try and catch up with the rest of the train.
I just think if the rain doesn't come out, then Sergioli will have to pit again for a set of intermediates, a set of mediums to finish the race. But if they do come out, and just seeing what Ace has said, 10 minutes time, that could be a very good play from Sergioli, because I would assume then they would be quicker than these guys that are currently staying out, and not... I'm trying to think where my brain went. There goes Silo. So they've decided, the ET8 team have decided that they don't want to risk their tyres exploding or pitting later on and then being further down the road. This could be absolutely genius from the ET8 team.
I'm not so sure, Gareth. I mean, if that rain does hit, I mean, hard combo tires, they're surely going to go quite some laps, aren't they? Unless I'm mistaken. They should be fine until the wet weather, no?
It should be. It just depends when that wet weather hits. And these guys, 9 laps younger tyres, as there goes Sergioli. This is going to... I don't know. This is interesting. This has just made things a little bit more tasty and just not what we were expecting here at Silverstone. And Devan having an awful exit from Aintree, and that could hold up Silo a little bit as they head on through Brooklands and into Luffield. Silo won't want to be held up by Devan. He's sneaked it up the inside there. That is a very, very solid move from the ET8 driver. If they can keep it up, they have done. The position's done. Devan's got a front wing damage as well, so they won't hold up too much. But my goodness me, that is a solid overtake from Silo.
Yeah, great move by Silo, working his way through the grid, and a little bit of more work until they get to Lolo and Zawadi in 13th and 14th. Keep an eye on the gaps here. The gap between first and second up to 3 seconds now between Tony Roche and Volakonga, and Quantum eking that gap down as Mispala in 4th and Lars in 5th, not too far behind, and Volakonga could be in a little bit of trouble now. He's outside the DRS window and under pressure from Quantum, so keep an eye on the gap for the battle for P2, Gareth, as the clouds start to come in here at Silverstone.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think for Shizou point of view as well, they just need, I think, not worry about what happens to Volakonga, but just let Tony do what Tony does best, and that's just push those tyres, and Volakonga can do what they can just to hold off Quantum. But as long as Quantum doesn't lose too much time squabbling with Quantum, Volakonga doesn't lose too much time to squabbling with Quantum, then it could, well, swing out. But if the rain comes sooner, then I don't know if ET8 have made the right decision. But let's have a look at the gap to leader. Sergioli's 23 seconds behind Tony. So the gap hasn't come down too much as of yet, but those tyres are much younger. But we'll have to, well, as the age-old saying goes, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll say that quite a few times this evening. But Tony Roche still holding the lead well, isn't he? Just doing his own thing, and Volakonga not under too much pressure from Quantum. Quantum can't seem to close that gap down enough to challenge our second place man, and neither does either V and T drivers in 4th or 5th. Devil again involved with that fight with almost a train all the way down to Ortiz in 12th place, and Zawadi trying to close that the gap further up to obviously Gergo and Max Power here. Yeah, if anything, that gap between Tony Roche and Volakonga is increasing, but you can see the clouds getting greyer and greyer. The sunbeam through the skies is not there, but crucially Sergio and Silo both doing well on the tyres, and yeah, closing the gaps as crucially as they can.
Indeed, they are. Lap 12 of 26. Ollie Hornby at the back of this group, 38 seconds behind the leader, as Volakonga now 4 seconds behind Tony, as I don't know. You're right, the gap is increasing, but I don't know if that's more Volakongan wanting to have a clear space between themselves and Tony and not have to worry about a double stack or any glitch through that, or if there is something more of the fact that they're just struggling with pace.
It's difficult to know, isn't it? You know, as we've got Lolo into the pits on lap 13. Yeah, well, where will he? Well, he's going to pop up quite far back. I think he likely be behind his teammate as well. But he's on to a set of hard Well, no, take that back. He's on to mediums, Gareth. So he feels the rain's not going to hit, and he should be able to get through to the end, which seems quite. 13 laps on mediums can be done. Obviously, we've seen it plenty of times, but if the rain hits, he's going to be in a bit of trouble. So we'll see where he, how he does. Comes out in 18th place. So a couple of places to build on if he wants to get some points this evening.
Yeah, let's see how it will pan out. Sergioli and Silo, though, 14th and 15th. You wouldn't have expected that at the start of this race. However, Quantum still can't find any full pace advantage on Volakongan just yet. So Quantum still eking away, trying any which way past the Shizou driver. It's just not working at the moment. I just have ETA messed this up massively. They're not catching at a rate of knots to the leaders. It's 19 seconds, so it's securing. The pace is 4 seconds since we last really checked, but it doesn't seem like it's going to do quick enough. And if it stays dry, they've got to pit for another compound.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. It's, I mean, they're assuming the rain's going to come. Seems that everyone else is waiting for the rain to come, and yeah, I think it may be a mistake from them. 12 and a half laps remain of this Grand Prix. I'm sure they could catch, obviously, but like you said, they've got a pit for a set of mediums to switch between the two. So, they'll be in the same situation. They're banking on that rain to come in, but it seems to be taking its time. It's very much greyer than when it started, but like I said, when is that rain going to hit, and will it hit hard enough for them to need the change?
We'll wait and see. But the longer the rain stays out, the more damaging it's going to be for Tony and Volakongan's tyres. But we're being told anytime now. It's raining now. Apparently, I can't see anything on this, but let's look at it from. Yep,
definitely rain from on Sergioli POV, Gareth, as he goes to go past Ziwadi. I think not defending that in true form, but rain is definitely falling at Silverstone.
And there we go. It's raining, and from Sergioli's point of view, and that's unrealistic expectations for the weather here in the UK from the ET8 team, and that has cost them possibly the championship this evening. Let's go back on to Quantum's gone intermediates now. Is this too early for intermediates, or is this the jump that they wanted to try and get on Volakongan? We'll have to wait and see. Let's see how they struggle through this. I don't think it's raining enough for inters yet.
No, I agree. Yeah, he's on board with Volakongan. Just keep an eye on. There's no wet line. DS is still enabled. I think. Give it another lap, maybe. Yeah, I think Quantum may have dived in too early on as Dala in 30 behind him, but could throw up something. And crucially, we'll see what our race lead does, and is Volakongan slowing down maybe, Gareth, to make sure he does have that gap over his teammate. But neither seems to be struggling at the moment, unless it's psychology. I can't see them struggling on circuit.
Yeah, Quantum. Let's just looking at the gap to the leader. It's sticking at 30. Well, it's going up. It's going up into the 31s. I don't think Inters are yet. Let's see how struggle through Maggots and Beckett's. I think it's a lap early for Inters, maybe 2 laps early, as Quantum, sorry, not Quantum, Devil going into the pits as well. This, again, it's not raining hard enough.
No, it's definitely still dry. Yes, we can see it's raining. Yes, there's there's raindrops on the screen, but definitely not ready for those intermediate tyres. You know, we've got no spray, we've got no wet and dry line on circuit, so I think we could maybe just see it as spitting and not worth those intermediate tyres. There'll be quite a scene where people switch back from inters to mediums. We'll have to wait and see. Devil comes out on another set of inters in 12th place. Quantum rolling around on those inters, but it's 8.5 behind Zawadi here. Let's see if that gap comes down. I'll keep an eye on it, Gareth, as we progress through this lap.
Volokongan is catching Tony, which is an interesting sight. They don't want to go too quickly through it, but looking at it from Tony's point of view, the rain is coming down. It's quite mild still. There's no real puddles forming as they head down the hangar straight, as keeping it still roughly at that 4-second mark between Volokongan and Tony. But Tony has jumped in to the pits. Into the pits is Volokongan and Mispala as well. So we'll have to go on board with Sergioli and see. They're both coming through Stowe and Silo pits. Sergioli stays out. The ET8 have had a clanger. They've gone full Ferrari this weekend.
Yeah, they may have Silos come in, but it looks like Sergioli has stayed on out with Lars now, but the rain is starting to fall a little bit harder now. You're starting to see these lines form on circuit, and could Silo manage to jump? Ooh, no, sorry, apologize. I thought he'd managed to jump Quantum, but doesn't look like he did. Yeah, he will come out in 12th place on a set of intermediate tyres, but crucially, the gap between Sergioli and Tony Roche is 8.2. How quickly does that come down in these intermediate conditions here at Silverstone?
Well, Quantum and Mispala have jumped Volokongan, so that's Shazoo points dropping a little bit, which will be news to ET8's ears as we have a look at Sergioli, who struggled through cops, couldn't keep the car on circuit properly, which is not ideal for them. And coming through Maggots and Beckett's now. Again, it looks slow for the ET8 driver. They are catching Lars ahead, but not really pulling away, if anything, from Tony behind. This is all a little bit unfortunate if you're an ET8 fan or an ET8 driver. It's just not worked out for them. And into the pits is Lars, into the pits is Sergioli. It's definitely time for intermediates, and here comes Volokongan. Has a look up the inside of Quantum, but not on this occasion. I believe DRS is still open. Volokongan again has a look up the inside, but nothing doing. The DRS is still is still enabled, so it's not too wet yet.
It just got disabled, Gareth. I don't know if you had that notification. Yeah, you just mistimed that. Yeah, he's now been disabled, as obviously we've got Sergioli into the pits, and whether he gets overtaken by his teammate here. Yes, he does. So I think the previous lap was the best lap, as Sergioli comes out in 12th place here, and a lot of work for the ET8 team to catch up. Luckily, they're in a bit of a train here, and the man at the head of that train is Quantum, and I'm sure they'll be able to catch up the back of this queue.
Not ideal for, ET8, but they're going to lose a lot of points tonight. It was worth the risk, I suppose, but the prize didn't hold out for them. We'll stay on board with Silo as they're going to try and get a move done on max power, but it's not happening on this occasion. Through cops, better drive through cops than max power, and look at Silo just trying to find any way through Maggots and Beckett's. Had to drop away a little bit. They don't want to overheat the tyres or the engine, but look how close they are to the back end of that Kick Sauber.
Yeah, unfortunately he's not got the DRS to help him out here. It's almost the Sauber has got a better straight line speed here and stays ahead for now. but all this battling is not helping Silo's championship fight, really, as he late lunge up the inside through Vale and Club they go. I think he's made that move stick just about, and that is Silo up in the 10th place now. Still a lot of work to do to catch up with, crucially, Volakongan in 4th place.
And Max Power losing the back end through Abbey, and then had to rejoin at the exit of Farm, which cost them a little bit of time. And Silo finally getting the move done, as we saw, but only up into 10th. They're 2.3 seconds behind Pepin in 9th place. It's looking a little bit drab as Quantum now pulling away from Volakongan in 4th place, which just cements the podium maybe for Quantum as Devan picks up another 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. Volakongan's got nothing to respond to. Quantum in 3rd, and unfortunately for him, Devil's not too far behind all this. The rain's starting to come down harder and harder here at Silverstone, as we normally expect in this country. But Volakongan's going to find it difficult to get by the kicks out of Quantum here, and if anything, needs to worry about Devil not too far behind as well. Starla not close as of yet, but keep an eye on Volakongan and Devil, and that will ultimately help the 88 team down in 10th and 12th. A long way for them still to go, especially in these conditions.
Lap 20 of 26. It's towards the business end of the race. It's towards the business end of the season, and it is now, looking far more likely to be a Shazoo Championship winning race as well. It's gone down to the penultimate race of the season, which is quite close, as Volakongan and Devil fighting away on track. And this is, AMS Devil has had an absolute incredible race so far, up into 5th place and all over the back of Volakongan. We haven't seen an AMS performance like this in a little while, getting so close to the back end. Could we see an AMS driver on the podium?
Oh, that is bold. Very bold, Gareth, to make that statement. They've been up there from time to time, especially recently in quali, but race unfortunately don't pull it off. But Devil's looking very close to the back of Volakongan, and Quantum not too far away either. Look at it's contact gap between Devil and Volakongan. Volakongan is off into the gravel trap through Chapel. He's had to cut across there now, down to 5th place. That is thrown the cat amongst the pigeons here.
Wow, that's new. That's not what we expect. And then a Devil still fighting along, and it's put Astala in touching distance of Volakongan as well. Ollie Hornby picking up a 3-second time penalty. It's not all over yet then for ET8. Silo, although now back to the back end of Pepin. Sergioli hasn't been able to get past Max Power. Max Power being far quicker than down the straight line speed like we expected for them with Silo. I think Sergioli struggling as well. Lolo getting past Ollie Hornby for 17th and 16th. But I suppose, really, let's go on board with Silo. Let's see where they can make an overtaking opportunity for them this time around of asking. Down the Wellington Straight they go.
Yeah, I think the unfortunate for him, everyone's on the same tyres here. There's no tyre benefit ultimately, and no DRS. She's got to do the old-fashioned way, I guess, Gareth. In Silo getting past 1, 2, 3, 4 cars before he even gets to the back of Volakongan, and it's not easy either. There's a gap splitting 7th and 8th as well between Jonas and Lars, so it's not easy. It's not going to be easy for Silo to try and keep the ET8 dream alive here. He needs to get past Volakongan. Tony Roche has almost checked out here, hasn't he? A hell of a lead, 4.7 seconds over Miss Parla, which we weren't expecting in 2nd place here. So yeah, I think it might be a little bit too late for them.
See, lap 22. Tony's just started. Sergioli. Into the pits. Sergioli. Interesting.
Retired from the session. Well, is that ETA giving up and throwing in the towel, Gareth?
That could very well be, and unfortunately, I hope there's nothing serious for the reason for that retirement, but goodness me. Silo then, still in 10th, can't find a way past Pippin. And that pretty much ensures Shazoo victory for this season.
It does indeed. But crucially, there are still plenty of other battles happening up and down the list, and AMS Devil trying to claw back and a first podium for that AMS team if he can get past Quantum. Quantum being quick all race, but he's not too far behind. If this rain doesn't get any heavy, he might have an opportunity to catch up with a P3 man.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I can't believe that. Sergioli retiring. It's still points and ensuring they would stay at second place. They've just actually possibly got a chance of losing second place, especially if Silo doesn't stick around as well. Wow, okay, here we go. Silo still can't find a way past Pepin for ninth place, and Devil is all over the back of Quantum. We could see that AMS driver on podium tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, it would be great, wouldn't it, to see the AMS team. I think the best, they've got 14 points, the best they've done all season back in round 8. So to get on the podium would be amazing for them. So we'll see how that all pans out in this one. As we go, wait and see. Wait and see. He's there, but crucially, if he had the DRS, I think he would get past. But I think under these conditions, he's gonna have to really dial it in to get past Quantum, who's no pushover.
No slouch at all, indeed. We just saw Silo overtake Pepin and into Aintree. So that was a bit of a problem because there was a little bit of contact which lost Silo some time. Divan picking up another 3-second time penalty for in 17th place. Ziawadi and Ortiz swapping over, it looked like. Just 3 laps left. 3 laps remaining for Tony to keep it on the track. And Quantum under some serious pressure now from an AMS driver.
Yeah, I mean, Devil's trying his best, isn't he? But he just can't seem to close that gap enough to push for that podium. He's got to be careful, though, because Warakongan isn't that far behind either. So any mistake from Devil would allow the Shaju driver to get up into 4th and further up. I mean, Stala is a little bit too far behind, I think, challenge for this fight. Jonas not too far behind him, though, to ultimately push for more points for the team, because yes, the title may be wrapped up after this race, but there's still plenty of fights up and down the constructors this evening, so don't count out these drivers just yet. But Devil, Gareth, trying his best, but just can't seem to claw in that side at the moment.
Not at the moment, and Silo getting in a little bit of a battle with the VNT driver of Lars Kramer. Got the move done out of Woodcote, but Lars' straight line speed meant that towards Cops managed to retain that position. It's just not the straight line pace for Silo right now, and feel for Silo, but the engineer has not helped them this time around. Lap 24 of 26 then, which has just gone over and ticked over to lap 25 of 26. thanks to Tony, well, and the lead of this Grand Prix up the inside, surely, for Silo this time around. Will the switchback be available? Nope, Silo's got the move done and dusted, finally up into 8th place. And, well, like Matteo said in the chat, maybe the ET8 drivers threw away a 1-2 this evening.
Yeah, I think ultimately I did question why they came in for that new set of hard compound tyres. It's well, almost a bizarre decision. Their tyres will definitely get them as far as wet weather came into play. So yeah, I'm perplexed as you are, Gareth, on why they came in. But ultimately, it's their downfall this evening.
It has been indeed. We've got a lap and a half for AMS Devil to try and find a way past Quantum. Quantum coming in as well as Astala a lap earlier than anyone else, and it might have cost them dearly this time around, maybe overheating those tyres. But Quantum has managed this beautifully so far into Maggots and Beckett's for the penultimate time for Quantum, and at the moment it's holding station. You can start seeing the puddles being left from the rain. It's taken its time, but my goodness me, it's nearly over with this one. But AMS Devil just can't find a way through at the moment.
No, and I think, well, he's not got many opportunities left, has he? He's not got much battery left either, while Connor's got quite a significant amount. So we'll have to wait and see. The rain is getting heavier and heavier. So this may go either way for the final podium position here. 3-10 split, 3rd and 4th. Was it Jonas and Astala again very close as well? There could be more fighting on this final lap. Tony Roche has ran away with it 7.5 seconds over Mispala in second, but still plenty of fighting to do in this Grand Prix.
Definitely is. Let's see. Not long to go as we stay on board with Quantum and Devil for the time being. Battle continues on down the Wellington Straight to Brooklands. Nothing that Devil can do at the moment. It's back up to 0.6 of a second separating between them. Gogo and Ziawadi's fighting away for 12th and 13th respectively there. But Devil just can't find any way through, and the back end steps out nastily for the AMS driver and dropping off away from it. And that's a shame for Devil. I don't think there's going to be any chance to come back up at the moment. Where is Tony Reish on track, heading down the Hettinger Straight? Let's go on board with a driver that has absolutely dominated last week, nearly dominated tonight from start to finish. A little bit of controversy maybe on lap 1, but managing to get the lead, stayed in the lead, pitted at the right time for wets, didn't have any sort of engineer problems this week. And there, it's Tony Reish winning the championship, winning season 6 for competitive speed, at Competitive Speed Series for Shazoo. Surely, as Miss Bala going to come home in second place, and Quantum holds off for the final podium position for this one, Ollie.
Yeah, Silo managed to get Jonas going down the back straight here, and he'll come round in 7th place. But again, a bit of contact across the line as well for the money there. But yeah, huge congratulations, guys, to TSCI there. Great result for both Tony Roche and Volakonga in 1st and 5th, and that is enough for them to take the title this year.
It is indeed. The champions, Shazoo. Tony has done a wonderful job the past 2 races, taking victory. In 15th place is going to be Lolo, sorry, as we just wait for Ollie Hornby to cross the line. And Devan is going to be through Stowe now, and their final few corners for the penultimate race of the season, struggling with the back end a little bit, Devan, unfortunately for them. But my goodness me, Ollie, what a race. As I think that's Ollie Hornby's car that's just stricken on the start-finish straight. As, yeah, definitely looks out of control. But yeah, what a race, and what a way to round up the championship for Shazoo, really. Unexpected, this one.
Yeah, I think we maybe expected a bit more excitement, Gareth. I think you could argue, and it maybe it wasn't a damp squib. There was still entertainment there this evening. But in fairness, Tony O'Shea held his own throughout the whole Grand Prix. Took the lead early on and held it throughout that race. It was ultimately his race to lose, and he held it well throughout.
Did indeed. It might not have been a damp squid, as you said, but it was definitely damp here at Silverstone tonight. Driver of the day goes to AMS Devil for this one. But let's go down the order. Tony victory means Shazoo takes the championship here in competitive speed series. Mispala in second, and third for Quantum, rounding out the podium. In fourth was AMS Devil, with Volakongan in fifth, sixth to Rastala, seventh to Silo, eighth to Lars, ninth to Pepin, Jonas in 10th, Max Power in 11th, 12th to Gergo, 13th to Ziawadi, 14th to Ortiz and Holly Warnby in 15. Rounding up the point scoring positions, no finishes to Lolo, Devan, or the big one, Sergioli, which effectively meant throwing in the white towel for those guys. Wow. How do we round that up, Ollie? Because that was well, rain, Ferrari engineers. It's all over the place, isn't it?
Yeah, we weren't expecting ETA to make so many mistakes. You could argue it's bizarre, really, and unfortunately, we were hoping that they provide a little bit more fight there, but with Sergioli retiring early and the bizarre two-stop from them, it's really cost them tonight, and ultimately the title to Shazoo, Gareth. It's disappointing, but there's still plenty to fight for in the league, and there's still movement about for our other teams in the championship.
Yeah, let's obviously the standings here aren't as they are with the points tonight, but Ventauri could close that gap to ET8 massively tonight. FRT, QRT, and TF10 also in their own battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's not just about Shazoo winning the championship tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we always focus on that top title, don't we? But ultimately, there's plenty more going on, and I'm sure the VNT getting second this evening is always going to help them push their way to. I mean, it'd be a big ask, but to close that gap to second going into the final race is going to be crucial for them. We'll have to wait and see what the points figure out themselves, but yeah, I'm sure they'll be over the moon with closing that gap down to second, and they can walk away with second this season. I'm sure that'll be a positive end of the season for them.
Hopefully will be positive for them, but also everyone that races. But one last race then, Australia next week. It's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? The championship sewed up, but there's still so much to play for. I don't think anyone can really, rest on their laurels.
No, I don't think so. Australia, again, another circuit which part street circuit, part standard track, especially with the updates to it the last couple of years. It is a fast circuit now, isn't it? And but the barriers, unfortunately, have not moved at all. Still, safety car inbound. Don't normally see any rain there, but safety car is definitely a big thing there. And as always, strategy will come into play for the drivers. So hopefully we'll get all 20 drivers and finish next week. But we just don't know, Gareth. Australia, it can cause many safety cars as for in the past in this league and others. So, well, again, ultimately, as you say, every single week we'll have to wait and see.
Well, indeed, we will have to wait and see. Driver of your day for this one, because it's not as clear cut as I think in my head it could be. I think there's a few drivers that have driven really well tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue Tony O'Shea, got that lead early on and kept on going. Mispala getting second place, did well there. You can argue Quantum getting back on the podium is another result. I'm not sure. I think I may leave it up to you this evening for driver of the day. If anything, I'd probably pick Tony O'Shea with how dominant he was this evening.
Yeah, I think maybe it is a Tony display of dominance that means driver of the day for that one. But there we have it. that is what has been an incredible British Grand Prix with a load of different situations going on. I'm just saying that I can't see anyone waiting in the waiting room for an interview. Hopefully we will get someone. But yeah, there we go. Silverstone completed and the championship completed for Shazoo Cedar Igniters. But that does not mean Competitive Speed Series stops there. We do have the finale next week and positions still to be decided for. And can Shazoo go out with an absolute bang by winning again? But for now, thank you so much for watching. Competitive Speed Series will be back on Saturday night for the PC side of things for their finale. And then Ollie and I will be back this time next week for the finale of the console side of things. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.